Hey guys, I'm Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing my March reading wrap-up. I read 19 books total this month, which is quite a bit. Most of them are like shorter, like manga types, so I get through those a little bit faster than regular books. And just so you know ahead of time, I have already mentioned 3 of these books in my February wrap-up recent reads. I mentioned A Sign of Affection, Volumes 1 and 2. It's a manga series, and I talked about Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, which is the 7th and final book in the Harry Potter series. I did read those at the beginning of March. Harry Potter was a carryover from February, which is kind of why I included it, because I finished it very close to that date. So, if you want my thoughts on those books, I would recommend referencing my February reading wrap-up. I'll leave it in the link down below. So, I'm going to be just starting with the next book I read, which was the 3rd volume in the Sign of Affection. I'm sorry for that. There you go. There's the picture. It doesn't really show up very well, that yellow. Anyways, I have concluding my thoughts on the first 2 volumes. It's a romance type shoujo manga. I have decided to not continue with this series. For number one, my library doesn't have any more of the volumes, and I don't like it to buy them. But it's cute. I gave it 3 stars. It's cute, but there's things about it I'm just not comfortable with. The main guy our main girl is deaf, and I do talk about this more in the first 2 volumes, so I'll try not to repeat myself too much, but he sometimes touches her. It's nothing inappropriate, but it does make me slightly uncomfortable. He doesn't often ask her, and it's very easy. He could just ask her, and I find that, no, I just don't like that. For me personally, I know a lot of people are probably not bothered by that, but I am. And another thing is, there is a hint at kind of a love triangle maybe later on down the series. I don't like love triangles unless I either like the characters or like the story in other ways. I just don't like that. So yeah, I'm just not going to continue with that series, even if my library does get more of the volumes. So the next book I finished, it was 2. It was Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll. I've never read Alice in Wonderland before. I was doing it for research for my family's kind of soap and candle story inspired shop. The link's down below if you're interested in that. But I was doing research because I thought one could fit for the Mad Hatter's Tea Party, but I knew nothing about the story, so I read it first for research. And strangely enough, I really liked it. I didn't think I would. It is, I don't know, the nonsense. I actually kind of liked it. I liked Through the Looking Glass less than the Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. I preferred the first one over the second one. The second one, it started out so kind of randomly. It was almost boring the way it started, and I wasn't fond of it, but I did like it as the story progressed more. But yeah, I didn't like the beginning of that one. I liked Alice's Adventures in Wonderland the best, and the very first one. And yes, I really enjoyed that, which was a surprise. I didn't really think I would, because I tried one other classic story a couple of years ago, Peter Pan. I hated that book. But I liked it, so I thought maybe it was the older writing style or something, and I wouldn't like this one. I actually did really like it. So, very happy about that. Okay, so the next book I read, and here, let me grab the sequel too while I got it, is the first book in the Gallagher Girls series, and that is I'd Tell You I Love You, But Then I'd Have to Kill You. It's a very interesting title. That's not really showing up. You've probably seen it before, but sorry, it's the best I can do. So, my Allie Carter. I also read the second book, Cross My Heart and Hope to Spy, which I do own. I gave both of these 3 stars. Obviously, I'm not going to talk too much about this one since it's the second book, but the first one, the whole tone of it very much felt like, kind of like a Disney Channel-esque movie, kind of like think High School Musical, but with spies. So it was very much that teenage drama, but with a spy element. The first book I thought was a little too much on kind of the romance I didn't think really worked, but I did like the characters and the spy element enough that I read the second one, and this one does work more on the spy element. It does kind of still have that over-dramatic high school drama feel, which is why I gave this one 3 stars as well. I have heard the series gets more into the spy stuff and less of the high school drama as the series goes on, and I'm interested enough to continue. So I don't know, they were really good. They were really fun. The first one I liked a little less than the second one, but yeah, they were really fun, and I did enjoy reading them. Okay, and the next book, assuming I can get this to work, it doesn't want to work, sorry about that. The next 2 that I read was a continuation of my favorite manga series, and that is Yona the Dawn Volume 33, and assuming I can get the picture bigger, and Volume 34. I love that cover, it's so cute. Yes, obviously I cannot say much because I gave both of these 5 stars. I can't say too much because obviously it's like volume 30 something in a very long ongoing series, and I will just say we do finally get some answers to events with Yona and Suwon's parents that was mentioned way at the beginning of the series. That was like, it was always a question on whether Suwon was lying about it. At least for me, it was always a question of, is he actually telling the truth? And we actually do find out answers to that and just further details on the relationship between their parents and just what started this whole drama to begin with, and it was really good. The relationship between Suwon's parents I would call toxic a little bit, but it does fit for the story, and it's not a main romance or anything, but I found it slightly problematic, but it did fit with the storyline and the characters as a whole of how it went, so I'm okay with that. Sorry. A little dry around here. But yeah, that was very much, yes, it was very interesting. I'm very curious to see how things will go down from here, and just more things revealed and things I didn't expect. Yeah, it is definitely still my favorite series by far. So the next one I read was another manga series, which sadly I did not like, which is really unfortunate, and that is Big Hero 6. This is based off of the Disney movie. There's volume 1 and volume 2. I gave both of these 1 star. Originally, I gave them 2, but then when I actually wrote the review and thought about it for a few days, I gave them 1 each. And here's why. Big Hero 6 is one of my favorite Disney animated movies. It is really, really good. So, if you ever watched the trailer for it, by the way, and you think, this looks weird, try the movie anyways. The trailer actually does not do it justice, which is kind of rare, but I found in a few movies that I've researched that the trailer is actually worse than what the movie actually is. So yeah, I would recommend, if you've just looked at it off of the trailer, try it anyways. Anyways, I like the character dynamics in that movie. I like the way they are, the relationship between Hero and Big Hero 6 and Baymax and just everything as a whole. This manga series, I was very excited to remember there was a manga series about this, since now I'm into manga, because I thought, oh, I could read the movie or a different version of the story when I'm not watching it, because I like doing that. But here's the thing. They took the story, it's slightly different because it has a different outcome to what happened to Hero's big brother Tadashi. But here's the thing, it didn't make sense. It's like they took the movie's storyline and they chopped certain pieces in the plot from it and rearranged it terribly without giving anybody besides Hero a kind of personality. Everybody else in the crew, like Fred, Honey Lemon, Go-Go, Wasabi, nope, none of them really even get a viewpoint, a personality, anything. It's just kind of like, here's these characters you supposedly know about, just attach it. Like, the supposedly humorous scenes were flat as anything. They weren't even funny. It was poorly constructed, and then, slight spoilers if you don't want to, hear this, but it's very slight. basically the portal. If you've seen the movie, you know what the portal is. Basically, the slight spoiler is, in this new version, Tadashi gets sucked into that portal rather than dying in a fire. The problem is, it doesn't work, because then they go in the portal to try to do, you know, what happens in the movie. That part is still the same. And then, but the point is, we're supposed to believe Tadashi's floating around in this portal somewhere? They don't find him. And then it's just like, is he dead? Is he some other dimension? Is Doctor Strange gonna pick him up next? I mean, we don't know. It's weird. It's left just, that's it. Oh well, we'll eventually find him, I guess. It was just odd. And that, and the fact that Tadashi reacted in the first volume in a way to Hiro that made absolutely no sense. Hiro was a total brat. I just didn't like it. And I do not recommend the series. Just stick to the movie. If you like the movie, just stick to that, because this manga series sadly does not live up to it. So, the next one I read was a book I've seen around BookTube, and that is Book Love. It's a little, like, book of, like, comic strips of just, like, celebrating our love for books. I gave it 3 stars. I thought it was really cute. I liked the illustrations. Some of the stuff was a little repetitive after a while, but I read it quickly, and I thought it was cute. There's really not much more to say to that. I mean, there wasn't that much more to it. Okay. And now I'll go to my ebook of the month, which it took me all month. Literally, I think I finished it like 3 days, 3 or 4 days, maybe a week before the end of the month. This is my ebook. It is not the book's fault. It took me forever to read, considering I started it in, I believe, yes, I did. I started in February, at the end of February, and it took me until the end of March to read it. However, it's an ebook. I am terrible with ebooks. I just don't reach for them. I don't pick them up automatically, which is why I'm forcing myself to read one a month. But that was not the book's fault. It was its format. If this was a paperback, I would have read it right away. Yes, and that is A Tale of Gods and Glory by Nikki Chapelway. I don't know if you can see it. It's a kind of a dark picture. And it is a fantasy. It is by an indie author. It is a fantasy. I got a PDF copy of this for free from the author for exchange for my review. So thank you, Nikki, for that. This is the first book from this author that I have read. And I really want to try more of her books. It's kind of a more darker fantasy, but not really. It's based in this bigger world of Ruskazar, I believe is how you pronounce it. You can see under Tales of God and Glory right there, a legend of the place. I don't know if you can see that, but that's the place that our main hero Tals, I believe, I don't know if I'm saying anybody's names correctly, but ends up in along with his sister, and through a series of events and stuff, he meets other people, and just kind of, it's kind of like, it's a legend set in this world that is kind of, because we start with a narrator asking this guy in a tavern, you know, what was the real story behind this character in this world, because it's kind of like a legend now, but not all of it's told. So this book is kind of the true story of this legend in this world, and I thought that was really neat. The story is really good. It's a little darker because sometimes we are dealing with her version of werewolves, which is really cool. I never actually read a book. The Lunar Chronicles is probably the closest thing I've read to having a werewolf in it because of, you know, wolf and stuff. If you've read the Lunar Chronicles, you know what I'm talking about. But this is a very interesting take. It's kind of more like a gift from these fictional fantasy gods that they can turn into wolves and stuff. So it's not a forced thing. You can do it at will. It's very interesting. The kind of the detail this author has put into this story world and these characters, and I really, really liked it, because whenever I did pick it up, it was very hard for me to put it down because I wanted to keep reading. It was also a PDF on my phone that I had to put in the Kindle app. I don't recommend that. If you can read it like on an iPad, it'd probably be better. But yeah, it was very small on the phone, which is another reason it took me forever to pick it up. But anyways, besides that, the story was really good. Some parts are a little darker. If you want all my content, the content I found in it, I do put content concerns and warnings at the bottom of all of my reviews. Not necessarily my older books from like years ago, but all my newer ones have it, and I will link all of the books I'm mentioning. There are links down below. So you can find my review there and see all the content and stuff. But there were occasional scenes where they came across some dead bodies at one point, and they were like, heads missing, and there's like pools of blood that the Tal steps in, and it's kind of gross. It doesn't go into a lot of detail because he himself doesn't want to look at it, but yeah, it's there, and it was a little like, whoa, when I first read that. So just bear that in mind. There's a couple other scenes that are kind of like that. Like there's a dark cult in it that at one point that they have to get rid of, and just all these different things. And yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed it, and I'm definitely going to try more books from this author. Okay, okay, so I have the rest of the books that I've read. Okay, so the next series I picked up, sort of, I'm still kind of in the middle of it, is I picked up another manga series, and that is recommended. It was not recommended specifically to me, but my friend Laura's always talking about it on her MangaTube channel, and that is Library Wars, Love and War. This is a kind of a dystopian series, at least that's what I'm calling it. I think it's labeled under sci-fi, which I don't really get, because aside from being set in the future with something that hasn't happened yet, but very well could, yeah, there's really no other scientific elements to it. Science fiction to me has to either be in space, something to do with science, or like advancement in technology. They don't really have any of that in here, so I'm just labeling it as a dystopian. And we follow, this is set in like a future Japan where there is censorship on books and materials, where the, where the government has given permission to this committee to destroy books that have banned content in them and for censoring. So the libraries gather their forces together and they decide they're going to protect their collections. So they come up with the library defense forces to protect the books and stuff that are under their care, which is basically an army to protect books from censorship, and it's really good. And we find our main character here, Aiku Kashihira, I believe is how you say her name. She joins the library defense forces, and she's like one of the only girls to do so, and it's basically her and her friends' adventures in protecting the books from censorship. And it's really good. I've read volumes 1 through 7. I'm almost done with 7 so far, so I've read all these. I'll show each one, but yeah, it's really good. I really like the characters and the situations that they end up in, and it's just, yes, this is probably, I haven't finished it yet, but I'm gonna go and say this is probably my second favorite manga series behind Yona of the Dawn, which is saying a lot, because I didn't think I would find one that I liked nearly as much. 7 is the current one. I'm almost done with it. But yeah, 7's the current one I'm on. But yeah, I never really thought I would like a manga series as much as that one. This one almost is just as good. Like, here's some of the art. So yeah, and it's really good. It's really funny. This one there's like bonus mangas at the end of all these. Most of them have nearly made me crack up laughing. The characters are great. And yes, I would highly recommend this one. There is some violence, but because it is kind of a war, but nothing too major as of now. I think there's like a big war at the end or something, but I haven't gotten there yet. So yes, really, really enjoying this. Okay. And I have 2 more books because, wow, that was a lot. And I'm still currently reading Library Wars, but yeah. Got up to volume 7, there's 15, I believe. I think that's the correct number. 15 or 16, something like that. And my reread for the month was also the Goodreads group I belong to. We read a book of the month every month. That's why it's called a book of the month. Please forgive my mouth and my brain. And And that was Romanov by Nadine Brandis. I love this cover. I love this book. I have not actually read this since its release in 2019. I read it when it was first released, and I loved it. Totally adored it, and this is my second reread. Still loved it. I was actually surprised at everything I remembered. I pretty much remembered the entire plot, which was insane. Most books I just remember, you know, like bits and pieces or something, but I remembered pretty much everything. And yeah, this is definitely one of my all-time favorite books. I love it. It is a retelling of Anastasia, and yeah, with kind of magical element to it. So it's a historical fantasy, and it's really good. And this cover is not done justice on the internet. Like, I thought it was lame when it first came out. Sorry to say that, but yeah, when I saw it in person, I was just like, okay, I changed my mind. I really like it. But yeah, definitely computer screens don't do it justice. And yes, loved this, loved rereading it. So glad I did. And the last book I read this month was a book I just found randomly on my library's website when I was looking at Rapunzel retellings, and that is, sorry for the weird way I have to hold it, I'm gonna rip the library sticker, Maiden in the Tower by Heidi Kimball. Yeah, this is kind of, it's very short, it's like a novella, which I was surprised by when I got it. I was kind of like, well, that's small. I didn't think it would be that tiny. But yes, it is an indie published fairy tale retelling, which it's kind of a historical Regency retelling. It's set in the Regency era in England, and yeah, we just follow a basic kind of Rapunzel storytelling. It's very basic. I gave this one 4 stars. Normally this book would have been 3 for me, but I loved the characters, and it was really sweet, and you know, kind of made me feel stuff, so I gave it a higher rating. I believe it's a standalone series. I believe it's a 5th book in a kind of like standalone series where different authors write about different fairy tale retellings. I don't know if I'll pick up any of the others in the series, but I was interested in this one because I love Rapunzel and the original fairy tale, and I just, you know, I like reading retellings about it. So, but this one was really good. It was really surprise. If you like a sweet romance set in a historical type period, I would recommend this one because it was really good and kind of a surprise because I kind of just found it on a whim and decided to try it. So yeah, that doesn't always work out. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've read this month. Let me know down below maybe 1 or 2 books that you guys have read this month, if any. And yeah, do any of the books I mentioned sound interesting? Let's talk in the comments down below. I try to post a video once a week. Doesn't always work, but I try. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And it looks like it finally stopped raining outside. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you have a great day. Bye.